Now, I told you guys to leave me alone. You didn't want to listen. So you give what you give and you get what you get. Now, Shakur Stevenson is fighting, within a week or so of Gervonta Davis. So this seems to be a topic in boxing. Shakur is supposed to fight Schofield. The fight fell apart last minute. He fought an electrician. I've given my commentary about that fight with Padley. For me, given all things considered, it left more to be desired. Even though Shakur, he looked sharp, I guess, and got the stoppage late. Given the fact that this guy has no power and is a domestic level guy with no time to properly prepare, it seems like if he was in there with even Abdullah Mason or Carmel Moulton, let alone the Tanks of the world, it would have been even uglier. But Shakur, he ends up making a long fight out of it, right? 9 rounds, right? And it's just, I have a hard time believing other top guys with a different style would have took 9 rounds, all things considered, right? And it's weird because Shakur is the guy that people are putting their faith in that could beat Gervonta Davis. And for me, I don't see it. I feel like if what I seen from Padley, if Padley had a full camp, he would have won 12 rounds with Shakur. I firmly believe that, right? No doubt in my mind. Because off the couch, doing your electrical job, no proper training camp, you go 9 rounds. You get what I'm saying? And then to boot, Shakur Stevenson damages not one, but both of his hands. Now, I told you guys, I am the best in the business, and it's not even close. You should have left me alone because I've stated these things. I explained myself. Now we're about to get into some real receipts for Shakur because I always state my case. Gangsta, right? But y'all weren't good with that. So now I got to work. I promise you, when it comes to blessing the mic in boxing in a digital age, it's me, no one else. There's a lot of low quality content, people saying whatever. I don't understand why people are holding their hat on Shakur being the one to defeat Tank Davis. For starters, before you even fought Padley, you were supposed to fight Joe Cordina, moving him up in weight, coming off of a loss by knockout to Kakashi or whatever, and Shakur pulled out the fight, right? It's like a web of lies. Shakur could pull up Joe Cordina coming off a stoppage loss, and nobody bats an eyelash. This is acceptable for a first fight with Shakur, Turkey, and Eddie Hearn, right? But Tank pulls up a champion who's been doing well for himself, right? Lamont Roach tonight. And people are like, oh, why is Tank going to fight a guy from a lighter division? This is absurd. So it's clear to me Tank is being held to a very different standard than these other dudes. It's okay for Shakur to fight Cordina and pull him up off of a TKO loss, but Tank Lamont Roach is absurd to you. So that means you feel Tank is harder to beat and better, hits too hard. So that's why you don't want to see him fighting somebody from a smaller division. Or Shakur could pull out in the Joe Cordina fight per hand injury, right? In sparring or whatever. And people are like, oh, get well soon. So sorry to hear this, Shakur. Floyd Schofield gets sick, and he's not even the only person that gets sick on the main card in Saudi Arabia. But then the Shakur fans are saying that Schofield is ducking. The only explanation, not like he trained his butt off and then something happened and he got sick. He just, whatever happened. No, it couldn't be that. It has to be Floyd Schofield was scared and backed out the last minute, but no one did that to Shakur when the Cordina fight didn't happen, right? So for all these reasons, I don't see why people truly think Shakur is the one to beat Tank Davis. But now it's time for Boxing Ego to cook y'all yet again. So this is Shakur after he fought the electrician Padley, right? Roll the clip.
In the third round, I had hurt both of my hands. So I kind of chilled for a little bit. I had to like relax and not use them as much in the rounds that was coming up next. But once I felt they like cooled down a little bit, I kind of picked up the pace and I knew it was time to go. But I could have ended it a lot earlier than I ended it, to be honest with you. But once my hands hurt, I knew I had to like just chill and,
This thing that you mentioned with your hands, Floyd had that issue throughout his whole almost entire career. Have you had a conversation with him about what it's like to have issues with your hands?
Yeah, I had a conversation with him a long time ago, but I think we need to revisit the conversation. I need to get more in detail about everything that he done with his hands that helped him prevail through all of the nonsense that he had to deal with coming up. So I'm definitely gonna call him probably when I get back and settle down a little bit more, but I'm gonna call him and ask him exactly what he did, what I need to do, how do I help myself, how do I save my career, because truthfully, I'm telling you, none of these guys is on my level.
So that was Shakur after the electrician, right? He's saying that I gotta call Floyd and revisit the conversation of how to deal with like brittle hands, fragile hand, breaking, fractured hands, hand issues, yada, 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 because I gotta save my career. This is his own words after damaging both hands in the Padley fight, right? So again, for me, that's not a good sign. I don't see how this is the man that beats Tank Davis if your hands aren't even healthy. You get what I'm saying? But you guys keep pushing Shakur like, oh, Tank, why won't he fight him? I don't get it. But let's keep going. Tank Davis, basically he roasted Shakur. Shakur got mad. And Shakur says, Ninja, shut that goofy ish up and make the fight happen. Bro, how is this believable? I just played a clip. I told you their fight was about a week or so apart. You just fought Padley and said your hands, both of them, were injured. And I could have stopped Padley sooner if I wanted to, but my hand hurt. Bro, with Shakur, it's always coulda, shoulda, woulda. Fans don't care about that. You keep saying you're going to knock guys out. That's the standard you're setting. So now he's talking about shut that goofy stuff up and make the fight happen. One, Tank is fighting Lamont Roach tonight. Two, how can he shut up and make the fight even if he got past Lamont Roach if both of your hands are jacked up and you have to talk to Floyd, right, in order to solve and save your career? This is cap. It doesn't make sense what is being said. Now, I like to save the best for last, and I'm glad if you made it this far in the video and gain any value, make sure you guys subscribe to my content, the boxing content that you need. I'm giving you news you can use. So again, subscribe. The many ways to support the channel, link is in the description. Now I got to really cook y'all. Save the best for last. Shakur Stevenson, the clip I am getting ready to play in the next 1 minute, Shakur Stevenson did before Schofield even pulled out, which meant before the Padley fight, aka before he damaged both of his hands and even knew he was fighting an alternate opponent. And Shakur said, this is just, when Schofield pulled out, he said, this is just like the amateurs. You don't really know who you're going to fight. So I'm not worried about Padley. I'm used to this. Then Mr. I'm used to this damaged both of his hands versus an electrician. Yet you guys keep telling me Shakur's the one to beat Tank. Again, I don't see how he beats him if his hands aren't healthy. But pay special attention to this, because this is before he knew that he would damage both of his hands on that Saturday night with Padley. Listen Please listen closely. Roll the clip.
With the way that like my hands are, 2 fights is like the most we probably will get like out of me. We probably won't be getting no 3 fights a year. I used to say that I want to, but I also need to like recover my body and then get back to fighting. Like I need time off too, so I can't just jump right back in the ring like I used to. So me being honest with y'all, I don't see 3 fights a year, but 2 definitely is a thing that definitely could happen. It should happen, actually.
Yeah, it's something we'd love to see.
With the way that like my hands are, 2 fights is like the most we probably will get like out of me. We probably won't be getting no 3 fights a year. I used to say that I want to, but I also need to like recover my body and then get back to fighting. Like I need time off too, so I can't just jump right back in the ring like I used to. So me being honest with y'all, I don't see 3 fights a year, but 2 definitely is a thing that definitely could happen. It should.
So that's Shakur Stevenson before the Padley fight, where he damaged both of his hands, and before he knew that his hands would be re-injured versus Padley, he is telling you that I cannot fight more than 2 fights in 1 calendar year. I have to rest and recover my body. My hands are giving me issues, and you're not going to likely get 3 fights out of me. He said this before the Padley fight. So now after the Padley fight and how it played out, it took 9 rounds to stop an electrician, and the guy was saying your punching power was very manageable. It just the body shots with no cardio and training, right? That he wasn't able to withstand the body shot with no camp. Shakur Stevenson, due to hand issues. This is the company that promotes. This is on Ring TV. The company that's putting on Shakur Stevenson's fights, owned by Turki Al-Sheikh. It says Shakur Stevenson, due to hand issues, doesn't see more than 2 fights per year. Shakur Stevenson isn't what you would call an old fighter, but his body, particularly his hands, have taken a beating over the years. Defensively, Shakur is blah, blah, blah. But just because he rarely takes any physical damage doesn't mean his body isn't being put through wars. For years, Shakur struggled with hand injuries. Due to their fragility, his trips to the ring have become far more infrequent. Although he would love to change and get back to a more active routine, Stevenson doesn't believe he'll ever be able to. So he says he would like to be more active, but he don't ever think he will be able to. Quote, with the way my hands are, 2 fights is like the most you will probably get out of me, Stevenson said. You probably won't get 3 fights out of me, end quote. And that's the clip I played for you. So again, he's saying I can max out at 2 fights a year per my hand issues. He said it before he had double hand injuries in the Padley fight, but then he's getting on Twitter. That's why they're calling him Shakur Twitterson. And he's saying, yo, fight me, Tank. Shut up, you goofy. Make the fight. What are you talking about? Tank has a fight. Your hands are busted up. You need to get with Floyd to save your career. And this is who you guys are saying is going to beat Tank Davis when his hands aren't even healthy and he can't fight multiple times. Mind you, Tank Davis just did an interview, and for this Roach promotion, the Lamont Roach fight, Tank himself says he would like to be more active and fight 3 times a year. So Tank Davis, we'll have to see how his fight looks with Lamont Roach, but he's literally saying the opposite of Shakur Stevenson. He's saying, I want to fight 3 times a year. Shakur is saying, man, I got to rest. I got to recover my body. I got to get with Floyd to save my career. I need to take care of my hands. I need to figure out a solution. And again, Tank is saying the opposite. He's like, put me in the ring more time. I'm good. After the fight, Shakur Stevenson fought an electrician. He's putting his hands in a Lowe's 5-gallon bucket with ice or rice or whatever it is, probably ice, to try to soothe his hands. He had to pull out of the Cordina fight because of hand issues. He had a surgery. He said, "Oh, I'm back healthy." And it's funny. I tell you, there's a lot of low quality content in boxing. Remember when Boxing Ego, before Schofield pulled out, before Padley, I had a video. It's still on my page. And I used this picture in the thumbnail. And I was like, man, Shakur's hands look really jacked up. They look really messed up. Like, are his hands going to hold up against the Schofield? Luckily for him, he didn't end up fighting Schofield. So he didn't have to deal with potentially 2 damaged hands and in that type of style because he was in there with the non-puncher. So these hand issues are plaguing him. And for what I've seen about Tank, this is non-biased. Tank has to respect you in the ring. And I feel like power is one of those main components to keep somebody honest. If you can't keep honest, you can't keep Tank honest, then I feel like that's going to be an uphill battle for you. You couldn't even keep Padley honest. He did so well that they signed him to a deal. All things considered, Matchroom seen the potential in him. Like, man, he did all that and went with a world-class Olympian. He went 9 rounds with no camp. We like that. We like that tenacity and resilience. Signed him to a deal. If he would have fought Tank under the same circumstances, I don't even know if he would have got a Matchroom deal because he would still be in the hospital. So again, I told y'all to leave me alone. Now I got to cook. I be chef and Chef Boyar-E. So again, I don't really see what you guys are talking about. It's like the internet truly wants to argue for the sake of arguing. That's why I got to shut stuff down. And again, some people aren't as versed as me. This is my job. So they probably didn't hear the clip where he said he injured both hands. They probably didn't hear the clip where Shakur said, "I'm only fighting 2 times a year. I can't do 3 because of my body won't hold up to that." Right? So they didn't hear those things. So you guys be in the comment section arguing, oh, this and that, and you don't even know the facts. This is my job. This is what I do. I'll be damned. I'll be damned if I let somebody outperform me. I'm the best in the business, and it's not even close. Church. Live streaming can be tough, which is why I use StreamYard. Click the link in the description for StreamYard, which is an awesome tool that enables you to set up your stream with ease of use. Get great results with live streaming. It's what I use. Stream to social media with ease with StreamYard. Live streaming is here to stay. Engage with your audience using StreamYard. Great way to reach out to your audience and connect. So you need a tool that can do that.